All right, trade recap. Now, today it's actually the first day on the second, or to be exactly third Eval account I was able to buy one today, and I took a loss while knowing deeply in my stomach that it's going to be more likely to be bearish for today. But oh yeah, seems I wasn't that wrong. Okay, with also news of course, but seems like I wasn't that my bias was not just that wrong, but this manipulation kind of go went crazy. Anyways, now oh man, that's kind of sad. Okay, now let's get back to it. Um, I was bullish. Now overall, to be fair on gold, it pretty much looks like to be bearish because we had here like this level, which kind of was like a strong indication for gold that it wants to go bullish to change its trend. Was going up there, retracement, gotten perfectly into this level, and then boom, was keep going to the upside. Then with the whole Iran conflict, we got the huge recession right there, and overall it pretty much looks like bearish. But for my sorry, but I was overall bullish at least for the day. Now, there were several reasons because we had a 1 hour fair value gap, a 4 hour fair value gap, and also it kind of got into this level again, within this consolidation, which might push a bit to the upside before it decides to go whatever direction. Yeah, now the thing is, unfortunately, I got actually stopped out. This was I wanted to enter off the sweep of this low, and the candle, the wick actually turned out to be larger than I expected to. So this was like a pretty bigger, manipulation in order to take out the Asia lows. This would also be, of course, a good entry model, the Asia low lows. But yeah, I missed it for some reason. Maybe this was a bit of a mistake from my side, that I wasn't waiting to wait until the lows are getting taken out. But yeah, now as you can see, I was going to the upside right now. Of course, the news are of course working in its favor. But besides that, my bias was correct. And at this point, I think, well, it's not something that difficult to be honest. To see that, or at least to wait for the Asia lows. Like perhaps it wants to go to the upside from here on because later we see it turn out to actually be a sweep that the candle closed above it and it's turned out to be a sweep. But still, like the safest level would have been the entry from this level right there. But I didn't really see that to be honest. I think also I was a bit too nervous and whatever frustrated because um, the whole week I couldn't really trade but I had like green numbers on the pivot account and also I had like no money. And I think this is like probably one of the worst experience when you can do literally nothing, like nothing and nothing, and you have no money. And this was actually a pretty terrifying experience to be honest. And I don't need to actually experience this ever again. Yeah, now besides that, I also technically saw a short potential on the Nasdaq, but today, I didn't know if I can handle this day because I bought it later on this day because I had to do some things, to use some leverage. But this also could have been a potential short, yeah, pretty obvious at this point. Um, but yeah, I didn't take it, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm a bit more, disappointed with this gold long, which I couldn't take, but it's okay. Well, at least one thing I can say is, even so, it was like very, very disgusting and very frustrated that I could take the loss. Like having a proper contract size and not closing it when it goes in the green. When the numbers turn green. So with like a bit profits being secured, that generally taking it. It's of course something which you need to be able to do. Otherwise, you close your position earlier while it could have been a winner. But to be honest, the reason why I got so incredibly disgusted and frustrated was because the previous were winners on the paper trade accounts, which was pretty much a replica of this current account. But I think most importantly is Dude, I had no money the whole week. I had no money the whole week. Like a bit, like two for 2 weeks. Like literally, I think it's been a long time where I like literally this little resources. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't buy anything. It was actually hell. It was hell for me. I couldn't like it was so insufferable, and that's something I generally don't need to ever again to experience. Which was the reason why I kind of had to lock in and just accept the little defeat of today and getting it back with the same clean execution analysis and no emotions override or something like that. Because the past 2 weeks it was so insufferable, like genuinely so insufferable. I was even about to take a short on oil, and it might be valid to a certain point, but I mean, I think you kind of get it, right? The data to compare with the charts is too far apart. So gold, crude oil right now untradeable. Nasdaq missed the setup. I wasn't even on my PC yet. It's okay, but yeah, generally this was like I know I'm just saying the same thing over and over again, but I really have to focus and lock in, like genuinely lock in. Now I just sold my MacBook, like it actually got very bad. I wasn't like some just certain things came over the way, which I wasn't expecting, which made the whole situation even worse. So yeah, just for you part, just know be do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes so it can be concentrated on the charts. If you're like in the with when you're facing the wall with your back, then you really have to focus, have a laser focus, and do whatever it takes to maintain this focus so you can be profitable on the charts. Not thinking about the money, the win, but thinking about following the rules and your intuition and the rational analysis, which generally makes you, winning. Even so, if your current situation is like gut wrenching, you do whatever it takes to stay concentrated on the charts. Yeah, the that's pretty much everything I have to say for today. Because when you're like laser focused and concentrated, then you're more likely not, like pretty much not, like not to violate your rules and blow an account. And yeah, maybe some of you are like in better situations are a bit more liquid regarding the finances, but I can tell you so far, don't get yourself in that because it was generally insufferable. And though I experienced certain things, but this was generally, I think, one of the worst in my entire life I've ever experienced so far. And I also am aware it's kind of, like first world privilege problems. But generally, having no money, not be able to do anything, buying foods, having no job, getting rejected everywhere you send an application to, it's actually insufferable. So do yourself a favor and do anything needed to be focused and to make this work out. Yeah, this was a bit more a dramatic one. But besides that, the loss was pretty simple. Got faked out with this wick. Would have been wiser to wait for the Asian session out manipulation or like the sweep of the Asia session, and then taking the long and targeting the London highs. Yeah, pretty uncomplicated trade. To be fair, it's a bit more unsteady confluence on the higher time frame. I have to give it that because the 4 hour farewell gap and the 1 hour farewell gap was kind of looking enticing. But besides that, yeah, not too complicated. So with that being said, cheers.